Welcome to the Beauty of Better podcast, where we help moms thrive in health and faith.
Good morning, ladies. We're so excited that you've joined us this morning on our Beauty of Better podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about meal planning and just how meal planning can really just help bring some ease to dinner times, meal times, and, kind of just help take some of that pressure off that we feel as moms to just have the headspace to think through how we're going to feed these kids. So we're just going to talk through some tips today and just hopefully you pick up some tidbits of how to help ease things in that department in your homes. But, some of the reasons that we meal prep is, just looking at the nutrition that we're giving our kids. And, we're in no means like pushing that you have to be all organic. I know there's so much pressure as moms that's like everything has to be made from scratch right away and all organic. But it's like, looking at your situation in life, what is attainable for you in your home? And so what can meal prepping look like for you? When in your weeks do you have time to meal prep? Whether that's big batch cooking, or it doesn't have to be that like Pinterest worthy refrigerator that has all the perfect glass jars and like you have your week supply of everything pristine. Maybe that works for some of us, but maybe it just looks like doing a big batch cook of something that that you can use a couple times for meals that week. Or maybe it means just ingredient prepping, so getting a bag of carrots and taking them out of the bag, having them washed and ready in the fridge, or like apples, so that your kids can go to the fridge and grab an apple and less whining at you. So even setting up a station that's like, okay, that's your prepared snack foods, like you can go to that, and they know that these little things, little tips can help just take some of the stressors off us as moms. So finding what works for you in your home. So we're just going to jump in and have some just raw conversation of how we do that in our homes and just kind of some practical tips we have. So does one of you ladies want to jump in with some ideas that have worked in your homes?
I can share. Yeah, I think I started embracing the concept of meal planning more after having my second child. So my first two kids are about 19 months apart. And there's just a very full season, becoming a parent and then welcoming another one, and full season in our careers. And I had read this thing about how the average American at that time, when my kids were at that age, would eat at least one meal out a day. And I was just really struck by that. And I'm like, oh, that's so expensive. And, we had a pretty tight budget at that point. And I was like, we can't afford that. And we can't really make sure we're fueling our kids well. So I discovered this great app that I still use today, 11 years later, that it comes up with new meals every Wednesday. And then you could pick it based on clean eating, if you're a diabetic, or 30-minute meals or kid-friendly meals. And then you just click add to my meal kit for the week. So if I'm going to cook 4 meals, it adds it to my menu, but it also says you need 1/2 of a white onion. You need 14 ounces of this. And so I don't end up overbuying, which helps us. And then once I put it in the cart, I'll look through my kitchen, see what I have, check off what I already have. And then I can send that shopping list to Instacart.
That's
right.
amazing.
So if it's a week that I just cannot get to the store,
I need to try this.
Yeah.
The game changer for me was going from 3 to 4 kids, where I felt like, okay, it was worth having that Instacart membership for our family when we added that 4th child, because just getting all the kids loaded, the amount of button clicks for all the car seats in and out of the car, the amount of time at the car was really challenging. So that automatic process afforded us more time to be able to cook, making sure what we were eating healthy. Something that we've done now that our kids are a little bit older is now looking at the sales when they come out each week and saying like, okay, we're going to build our meals around like the proteins that are on sale. And we do grocery pickups on Fridays because you get more fuel points if you do it on Fridays. So it's adapted over time, but using resources that are, weren't there decades ago have been a really big blessing, and also taught my kids like how to get involved with the cooking process and the planning process. And been a positive thing for our family.
I
Not
love
easy.
that.
I won't
Yeah,
say
What is the
easy,
name of
but
that app?
positive. Yeah.
yeah.
What's the name of that app?
The app is called eMeals. And so we
Email.
learned about it through we were doing some like uh Dave Ramsey, like real hard look at our budget when we were wrapping up grad school and becoming parents and whatnot. So it was recommended through that avenue, and it's pretty affordable per month cost, less than maybe a Netflix subscription.
Yeah.
And so I have it on there, and then I have all my recipes that my kids love in like a recipe box on there. So if I'm like, okay, this week I just want to go with their favorites, and I just
Yeah.
add it to my meal plan for the week, it simplifies. And then even if you have like something in your freezer, like I have a bunch of frozen chicken, and I'm like, you know what? Like I don't have time to go to the store in the next 2 to 3 days. I have frozen chicken. It can suggest meals based on
Wow.
like putting in 2 to 3
Oh.
ingredients and quantities. So I don't have to do the searching because that's where I was losing time.
I
Isn't
like
that
that.
so good? I know. I think I did check out the app and they have a 14-day like free trial. So like
Mhm.
I'm in that free trial right now, just like testing out because I tend to be more of a like throw it together cook.
Mhm.
And I've always been like that. I mean, I was actually like it was growing up in my best friend's house, they always just cooked with whatever they had in their cupboard. So I learned how to do that from them. But I know not everybody can do that and like have it turn out edible. So, so having apps like that is just like so helpful. And I love that you can actually store the recipes that you find are like wins with your kids because I did like look through the app and like to be able to just click on a recipe and just add the ingredients to the shopping list and then just like check off the ones you don't need because you already have it. It was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. Like the headspace that it just frees up because you can just do something like that. So yeah, that's definitely a good tool, I think, for mamas out there who maybe need that help with coming up with recipes and stuff. So thank you for sharing that, Christiana, because I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like our go-tos, I used to have a calendar on the fridge and it was like this day of the week we're having this, 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 and this, so the boys would know what to expect. And then in this season, I think I shared this in another episode, like I just can't do that right now. And
Mhm.
Saturday was my prep day. And I've actually changed our whole routine around grocery shopping, but we just try to have obviously like a protein, a vegetable, and or fruit, and a starch with every meal. And we focus the most on dinner, right? Because the kids are usually at school for lunch, and then breakfast is usually pancakes right now. So I think with that, it's just making sure we have enough meat for every day of the week, the protein. And I mean, we see what's on sale. I also love Instacart. Maybe Instacart should like sponsor Beauty of Better or something. 'Cause I feel like it's made
Yeah.
me survive in this season where it's
Yes.
like I can do grocery shopping on my phone and then it comes to my door. I also use Costco same day delivery. So that way it's like I maybe go to Costco like every other week because I don't need those giant bulk items every week, but just like it gets delivered every 2 weeks and then it's like you're stocked up on things. But we are more of a throw it together in this season. But usually I feel like grilling has been our best friend. So it's like
Mhm.
grill a meat. I make a salad every night. And sometimes I'll bulk make the salads, like you said, Kathleen, where it's
Yeah.
just like there's always salad in, it's easy to throw it in a bowl. And then we've got our meat on the grill, and then either like rice or potatoes or like some kind of starch to go with it. But it's usually like pull it together, but I always have those staples in that I know my boys will eat. Like we always have zucchini in the house. We always have broccoli. We always have cucumbers. Like I just
Yeah.
know we're not going to have a fight over this. Like it's not
Yes.
Yeah.
good in this season. But I also think like ordering with Instacart or other apps like that, it can save so much time. Like if you don't
Yeah.
have time to just, and especially where we live, where it's like if I go to Costco and I just want to get one thing, it's going to take me an hour because
Yes.
we're in such a densely populated area. And
Mhm.
it's like that, like I just can't do that right now.
Yeah.
But I want the bulk items and to save money on that. So it's
Yeah.
like give or take. So yeah, I feel like that's helped a lot and to just be able to add things to my grocery cart during the day when it's like I have time to do that and I don't have to walk through a grocery store.
Yes.
But Christiana, I want to try that app so bad.
Yeah,
Well, and I
definitely
think the
do.
idea with like using, so we've done a pickup for a local grocery store. So Ralph's is the grocery store close to us. And so my mom actually told me this. She raised 4 kids. So a lot of times I'm like, okay, you did this. And I saw it modeled well, but now I'm trying to figure this out in this
Yeah.
season. Can you give me some tips? So a lot of times I'm calling her. And so she actually told me about the Ralph's app. And that has been my new Friday routine where like I'll talk with my kids and say, hey, you know, what would you like to eat this week? You're just like, okay, these are the things on sale. And, each of them are chiming in or, oh, we're looking at it together. And I save money by not taking my kids with me to the
Yes.
grocery
Oh
store,
yeah,
even like,
big time.
and it's kind of like Target pickup. So you pick your pickup window
Yes.
and then they just bring it out to your car. And it's this beautiful thing that I feel like I'm buying
Yeah,
time back. And
yeah,
then I can invest that in the areas that may need
yeah,
it for that day or for that week, right?
yeah, yeah,
And I think with raising 3 daughters, I feel that like even my son, he actually was really involved with like chopping. So I wouldn't say just gender, but I it's a like a time for us to spend time together in like prepping a meal, and so like
yeah,
they're taking some ownership. And then one thing that I felt like a sense of like I wanted to teach my kids is to be exposed to a variety of different foods. And I just naturally don't have the mental capacity and creativity to come up with like, let's try this Thai food. And now we're gonna try
yeah,
this like Indian dish. And like through this, I could just look at it and I'm like, okay, we're gonna add curry into our meal this week, and that will be our experimental meal. Or
yeah.
like we're gonna not have a protein. Like last night we made this really big quinoa salad, and quinoa is a complete protein. So I'm like, here we
Mhm.
go. Like we're saving money with using a complete protein without
Yeah,
having the cost of like an animal protein. So
yeah,
it's just been fun to have those conversations around our
yeah,
table and like try to give my kids that skill set that hopefully they'll carry on to adulthood. But it's been fun, but it's been like an 11+ year process for
yeah,
us
yeah.
and varied a lot in different seasons.
I love that. Well, I feel like we're plugging all these other companies that, but I did just want to speak like something that's been fun for our family is like it's called Misfits Foods, and it's at
Ooh.
least here in this area. And so it's like organization that they kind of foods that are maybe rejected from the grocery stores because they're like slightly like odd shaped or whatever. Here in California, we do have the luxury of like lots of farms and stuff around us that have we have access to like organic produce and all of that. So we get that shipment. It comes on like Monday mornings, and it's like these big boxes. And for Jeremiah, my 2-year-old, it feels like Christmas morning. We like open up the door
Oh,
Monday morning, and the Misfits food box is there, and like we bring it in and open it up together, and he gets all excited, like zucchini, and like where it feels like a Christmas morning package delivery every Monday. And that's been something too about like just how that helps like engage that generation in the excitement around food. And also, telling the kids about the value of like, oh, this would have just been thrown away if we didn't rescue it. And it has
mm,
the same nutrition as the ones that look like perfect. And, and just, so that's something that we've really liked. And also that company, like all of their foods are like ones like even their snack foods are the ones made with more like whole like better ingredients. And so I'm feeling less like I need to like search like, okay, what are the ingredients in this? Like that company as a whole has good ingredients in their products, ones that I would don't mind my kids eating. So even things like that, finding companies that source really good products, that helps take some of the guesswork out of like, is this going to be okay? Like, or all of that. And so that's something that's really like helped us that we've really liked.
I have a
But
question around that. Is it
yeah,
a surprise what you get? Or do you
a
get told
surprise.
like what's
Oh,
coming in the box?
yeah, no. So we have done veg boxes like that before, which has been surprise foods. And then like I remember once I had to look up the name of it. It was like this weird, it looked
That's
like
what
a
I feel
sea,
scared
it
about.
looked
Like,
like
what if
a
I don't
sea
know?
creature. And it was called Romanesco, which maybe people know what that was, but at the time I like didn't know what it was. And it just looked like a sea creature. And our kids were like, I'm not eating that. Like, and so anyway, no, with Misfits Food, you literally pick everything you want. And
Oh,
there's no subscription fee on it. Like you don't pay a monthly fee. And so like, and you can skip weeks, you can cancel anytime. it was like the easiest thing. And so you have like a shopping window from like Wednesday to Friday. So you just click
Mm.
through what you want, and then and then they would send it to you on Monday morning. So you very much get to pick everything that you want. But the one caveat was it wouldn't have things like laundry detergent
Mm.
and like
Mhm.
toilet paper. So, it's not like one-stop shop in that sense,
Right.
whereas some of the other apps are. But
I
yeah,
feel
I
like
don't
I
know. It
never
worked
have a
for us.
one-stop shop. I feel like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
always have minimal 2 to 3, like either delivered or pickups a week
Yeah.
because, yeah, you can't get like
Yes.
laundry detergent at
Yeah.
Ralph's or Vaughn's or a
Mhm.
lot of those food delivery places, but you can at Costco and Target.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
exactly.
like that idea of the delivery. I know there's been seasons where we've done like Every Plate or HelloFresh or like Blue Apron, those things. They've had their promotional ones. So sometimes in different seasons we've done that too.
Yeah.
But the idea of rescuing foods that might not
Yes,
be
yes. And
used.
honestly, we haven't had issues with like stuff's not showing up moldy or anything like that. It's like
Yeah.
perfectly fine condition. And another thing I love about them too is like it doesn't come in loads of plastic.
Mhm.
It's literally just like they have all just in this big brown box and it kind of just all comes in there together. I mean, it doesn't break and stuff, but like it just minimizes that plastic waste and stuff too, which is kind of a value to us as well. But um yeah, and it saves money. Honestly, I was finding it saved us about 30% like per
Wow.
week
Wow.
on like our grocery costs and stuff. So yeah, I really like it. So you're welcome, Misfits Foods on this plug. But I did want to talk a little bit just on like even as moms, like fueling ourselves, because oftentimes we're so busy caring for our littles, making sure they're nourished that we forget about ourselves and we end up running on coffee throughout the day. And then we're like, oh yeah, and then you get exhausted, tired, and kind of burnt out mid-afternoon because you haven't fueled yourself well. So something that like I'm not like a real planner as far as like all the meals with my kids. I'm definitely growing and getting better at that. But something I've learned for myself is like I batch cook sometimes like breakfast and lunch for myself. So like I got into like soaked oats and Bircher muesli. Like Bircher Brenner was like a Swiss, physician that came up with these like soaked oats, finding that it healed a lot of ailments in his patients. And so anyway, lots of health benefits in soaking oats. So I often will make a big bowl of like these kind of soaked oats, and there's a bunch of different recipes online. But having that, and then you just scoop it out in the morning, and it's just ready for you. Which I don't mind cold like oatmeal, but maybe people don't like that. But it has like nuts and seeds and fruits in it, so it's a little it tastes good in that way. But and then for lunch times, I just know that like, okay, I need to get some protein in me to be
Mhm.
sustained throughout the day. So this is another thing that I'm not sure people love, but like sardines, I like love sardines. People always like look at me like weirdo. But it's kind of one of those foods that like 110, which is a serving size, like gets you your full daily value of omega-3s.
Wow.
And so, and like in this culture where people are concerned a lot about seed oils, like it's not so much seed oils as the imbalance of omega-6s to omega-3s. And if we just find ways of increasing our omega-3s,
Mhm.
it can just help our overall health. And so that's something I made like a pasta salad with and threw in sardines in there, which honestly tastes like tuna to me.
Mhm.
And and I threw some like cooked kale in there and carrots and just got in a bunch of veggies, and I had that just in the fridge, and over a couple days like that's just what I had for quick lunches. And so sometimes batch cooking just for you as a mom, for fueling you as a mom to have that ready, can just be so helpful um, to get your energy.
Yeah, I'd definitely agree with that. I think a lot of times what we'll do is we'll double a lot of recipes in the evening, and then either I'll take it to work, my husband will take it to work, or sometimes the kids will even pack it in their lunch. And so I think, yeah, just like when you have everything out and you're making the mess in the kitchen, just like
Mhm.
expand about how much you're making, and that will save you time of,
Yeah.
down the long run because it can be used for maybe another meal,
Yeah. I feel
depending on
like
the
I do.
appetites.
Yeah, I do that too, where it's like if I'm cooking dinner and it has the oven involved in a recipe, I'll throw in an extra pan of chicken, even though it has nothing to do with dinner, just to cook it at the same time. So then I have that to go on top of salads for lunches. And then my salad bags are already made because I make those for dinners. So it's just like that easy grab. You've got protein and vegetables and go out the door. I've been on a
Mhm.
sourdough kick lately. So if anybody
Oh,
knows how to
nice.
make really good sourdough, I really want to learn to make it because
Oh,
I'm like, I'm consuming way too much, but I love it. But I
Daniel,
want
my
to make it at
husband makes
home.
it. Daniel makes it. My husband makes it. So I'll
We
have to
need
Oh,
your
get, I'll
let's
have
starter.
chat
to.
about this later.
Yes, we do. We have our, I know, we have our starter from Dublin, Ireland. So yeah,
Wow.
it's pretty awesome. So yeah,
Oh, I need to
we'll have to
learn.
post that for our mamas listening, the
Yes.
recipe for making
Yeah.
sourdough.
I've been
But
having that whole wheat sourdough with an avocado on it.
oh,
Uh,
nice.
just like for breakfast. And it's just good to, like, if I have to drive and drop everybody off, it's good to have on my way to work. So,
So
Yeah.
good. I love that. That's awesome.
yeah.
Just yeah, one other, I think just some t tips that are helpful for moms is like when it comes to our kids too, just of like I think through like the nutrition in our kids, sometimes planning things out when you know are like tough areas for your kids for getting in nutrition. Like something with me actually like my kids are sort of have been picky eaters, like just turn their nose up to like any vegetables and stuff. And that, and being a nutritionist, at times I've been like, what do I do? Like, and, but I feel like, I've found little tips here and there from different moms with picky eaters and some things that we have done. And it's, required a little bit more planning. But so one tip that I thought was really helpful is, when kids are like, watching a show, like if they get showtime, they'll often just like munch on whatever is in front of them. So that's when I like sneakily like incorporate like, oh, here everybody have this fruit and veggie smoothie.
I
Like
do that too.
yes, right, just like they're
Yes.
not paying attention but just like sipping away at this. I'm like, yes. Like,
Yeah.
and so I honestly, I'd sneak everything. I put spinach, bananas, like almond milk, like all the things in there, and they'll just drink away at it as they're like watching a show. And I'll often do that even like before a meal so that I know that okay, they're getting the
Getting filled
like
on something
nutrition
good.
filled up on something good. And then maybe I'm giving them their like chicken nuggets and potatoes that they prefer like during the meal, but they like already got that other stuff in them.
Yes.
So, something like that. And I know we're going to do a picky eating like episode at some point, but just like having these little like planning out some things that is a way to get nutrition into your kids,
Mhm.
especially if they're picky eaters. Like, those can just be helpful to take some of the stress out of meal times. Like, so
Yeah.
that's something that's helped us in our home.
Oh, I feel like what I do a lot is along the smoothie line is I'll buy frozen berries when they're on sale. Like I'll stock up and put it in our deep freezer because our boys ask for smoothies almost every day. So like I'm
Mm-hmm.
constantly making smoothies, but there are some foods you can sneak in there that they want, like an avocado.
Yeah.
They don't even notice. I feel like I hope they're not watching this episode because
That's
it's like
awesome.
you can put in all the berries
Yeah.
and it's super sweet, but like an avocado
Yeah.
just blends right in and it has almost no taste. And so
Yeah.
it's like, oh, you're getting like these good fats and fiber and like all this stuff. So I feel like that's one thing I try to not say no to with my boys is like if they want a fruit smoothie, it's like, yeah, you're gonna get these fresh berries, you're gonna secretly get an avocado in there. And just help pack that. But it's so funny because I just was thinking back to it must have been like a month ago. My husband came to me and he's like, you know what? People never tell you in parenting classes that you have to cook for your kids every night of the week. Like you have to provide dinner every day. And it's so hard. And I was like, it's so true. They don't talk about like they talk about parenting and behavior and all those things, but when you become a parent, it's like you gotta feed your kids to keep them alive. So I
Mhm.
feel like meal planning can be so hard, but I feel like what our heart behind this too, mamas, is to just have grace.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to have the perfect meals. You don't have to have like photo ops for your dinners. Like they can be messy. They can be on paper plates. And it really is just about taking those steps to just make sure that you're incorporating as much nutrition as you can for your kids, or tricks like what Kathleen said about doing a smoothie before dinner, or whether it's using Instacart, whether it's to save time or save money. But it really is, again, going back to our last episode with SMART goals, like what is one area you can improve with meal planning, with dinners. Maybe it's not going out to eat one less night a week or something, where it's like you actually know what you're fueling your bodies with. Or maybe it's a goal for yourself personally, just around prepping breakfast or prepping lunch for yourself so that you know that you're getting the energy that you need for the week. Does anybody else have anything to add? I felt like
I
I was
just love
going
that.
into
I
an
felt like
exit,
you
but
were
say-
I'm
wrapping it up
like,
because I was
One
like,
other
yes.
thing we've been doing too, just we have a child who's very fact oriented. And so maybe they wouldn't want to try a food, but if you give them like, you know, this child would say, "Hey, Alexa, why is this good for you?" Because they think it's just, you know, just me asking. And they're like, "Did you know? Did you know?" And then they go
Alexa
around
has
saying all the
value.
facts, and then they'll maybe try something, you know, and we're like, okay, at least we're developing those taste buds to like not fully reject it, maybe just like still give it an attempt. But seeing like how your kids are oriented, whether it's the smoothie where you have to hide it at that point, we're like, okay, we're gonna get some kale in here, you know, or if it's let's just talk about facts.
Yes,
So
yes.
yeah.
Yes, we call it, we have, you know, we have our little foster boy who's 3, and then our son Jeremiah who's 2. And what I've been doing with them is like, oh, this food gives you this superpower, and like talking about the immune system and stuff like that. And then the other day I ate an orange and was like, oh, I'm turning into Hulk. And we got our little foster boy to eat, like, he licked 2 fruits that he usually would just be like not even touch. And so I was like, yes, we'll consider that a win. He licked them.
Yeah.
And so, you know, because he wanted the superpowers. And so you do have to find little funny creative ways sometimes to get them interested. So I love that. I'll try that. He calls the Alexa Rolexa.
Rolexa.
So I was like, let's ask Rolexa what she says about this food. That's awesome.
I think it's helpful too, like when kids do start to get a little older, just having them be part of the conversations. And like Christiana, you said your kids are very deeply involved in the conversation with food and meal prep, but I just think that helps train them at a young age. And something I've done is I've had my boys go grocery shopping, like be completely in control of the week of groceries. And it's like, here's your budget. Here's the flyer for the grocery stores, and we need to plan this many meals. And so it teaches them, it was like a homeschool math thing that we did, but it taught them to look and see like, oh, this is what's on sale. This is not. This is how expensive things are because they're so expensive here. And this is how I plan to prep meals. And I let them be in charge of the grocery shopping for a week. And that just helped engage those conversations just around like budgeting, but also eating nutrient dense foods and what do those look like and how do you put them together. So I feel like incorporating kids, like I feel like at a young age, Kathleen, like letting Jeremiah open the box and see all the fruits, like small steps with incorporating kids throughout the years is helpful too. And just training them and being an example, but then preparing them so that when they're off to college, they can hopefully have some good habits.
Yes. That's the goal.
Right.
That's awesome.
Oh.
Okay, well, I hope you ladies listening were just encouraged today and that you can find some helpful tips in our conversation today. And we just bless you in taking those little steps towards becoming better for yourself and your family.
And don't forget to get your Beauty of Better
Oh,
merch.
yes. Oh, yes. Woo! How cute is that?
So fun. Yes.
So
So go to
fun.
our merch page. You can have these reminders at your home and just with what you wear, or we have exercise products too, and just really help remind yourself that you can take one small step to becoming better and finding beauty in that process.
Thanks so much for listening to the Beauty of Better podcast.
If you liked today's episode, don't forget to subscribe.
Connect with our community and check out other resources on our website at beautyofbetter.com.
We hope this podcast helped you take the next small step to find the beauty in becoming better.